Hello, I am your host, Chris Garris, and you are watching The Transporter Room. Today I have the pleasure to speak with TJ Jackson-Bey. TJ is one of the associate producers for the Seventh Row podcast. Thank you for making the time to come on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Peaceful greetings.
Thank you. Same to you. So before we get into the meaty stuff, how was your how was your holiday? Do anything fun?
Oh,
Work?
uh, this is what I've been telling everyone. I said I had a very restful day, and it's all that I wanted for Christmas.
Hey, that sometimes is more important than anything else. I was tried to which was not bad. I drove up to my relatives on Christmas Eve up in San Antonio, stayed there, and then came home the day after Christmas, and then kind of slept for a while.
You go to the Alamo.
I've I've only been to the Alamo like once, maybe twice in my entire life. You know, I just unfortunately, when I go to San Antonio, it's usually for family events since that's where most of my family lives. So I just go to the house, we do our stuff, and then I come home. Oh
I
yeah,
think
I've done some touristy stuff.
I think San Antonio is also the home of the first Church's Chicken.
I'm gonna Google that real quick first. Now I want to know Church's Chicken. Let's see where they go. 1952 in San Antonio, Texas,
Wow.
by George W. Church Senior, a retired chicken incubator salesman. Whatever that. I don't know what that is, but I guess see. Okay, see, you know more about my state than I do at times.
Maybe so, or maybe I just know more about Church's Chicken.
Yeah, we
Uh,
the nearest Church's Chicken for me is in another town about 15 minutes away.
we don't have them here, so it makes me sad.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I have to say this. I'm more of a Popeyes guy.
Oh, Bear likes that.
Gonna have to edit him out. Um, but yeah, no, I've been more of a Popeyes guy over the years. But I don't know.
Popeyes does have. If you've ever tried them, the ghost pepper wings.
I
I
want
don't know if you
to.
tried them recently. You don't want to.
No, I do. Oh, no, you're saying I don't want to.
Well, I mean, they're not overly hot. They're it's a good flavor that I like. And yeah, I tried them before, and they didn't really hit. But I tried them again a few months ago, and they were just like the best thing on earth.
Really?
Now I haven't had any in a while, but yeah. So there's your Popeyes.
I may have to go there tonight now. Now you've tempted me. Um, Now I don't think because you're in Missouri, right?
Yes.
So y'all don't have Whataburgers up there.
Well, actually, they have them now. Yeah, they're in town now. In this town anyway. Yeah.
I was, I think it when I was going to SpaceCon. Um, I got to my relatives kind of late because I was staying at their house. It was in San Antonio, and I stopped at Whataburger because I may get chastised for this in the chat later on when this goes live. But I'm not the biggest Whataburger fan.
Every time I see those posts about, what's some place that's, overrated, uh, that, people just like swear on, Whataburger is always in the list. I don't, that's not what I put in the list, but it's always on there. And I don't put it on there because I don't want to get, you know, I don't want that heat, man. I don't know how people like that.
So I didn't want a burger. I was like, I'm gonna try their wings because Whataburger now does water wings. They're boneless, which is what I like. And oh my god, they were actually good. For fast food restaurant wings, I was flabbergasted. They were good. Um, I haven't tried them since, but I may have to try them again one of these. But yeah, they were good.
Hmm,
So I
okay.
can say you may have to give those a shot too one of these days.
Maybe so, maybe so.
So we're here today. I've been talking to fans that I have now met through you name it, Instagram, Facebook, Seventh World members, and all that stuff through other podcasts that I'm in to find out, you know, what it was that got them into Star Trek. What was their gateway to the Trek fandom? And, like I told uh people earlier, my first foray into the whole sci-fi thing was Star Wars. That's what got me started, which then led me to Star Trek. And I've been a Star Trek fan ever since. And I'm still a Star Wars fan, but Star Trek, I don't know. I like it better.
Now you're asking for the heat.
Eh, it is what it is. So that's what got me started. How about yourself?
Myself, I would say I was probably around 4 or 5 years old. I'm definitely on the younger side, fourish. Um, and um, let's see, let's give away my age a little bit. Back in my day, there was only one TV in the house, and so that means if my parents wanted to watch a thing, or definitely my mom for sure, if we were around the house and the TV, was a thing. Well, I couldn't watch cartoons all the time, and believe it or not, back then parents didn't always give in to the kids. My mom
Yes.
would put Star Trek on whenever it was on TV, um, and if I wanted to watch the TV and that's what she had it on, that's what I had to watch. So I started off not liking it because it wasn't cartoons, right? And here's what changed, and it was as if someone flipped a light switch in my brain. One night, I had a dream, and in this dream, I am standing on the outside of the Enterprise, like we're standing out on top, like it's a patio deck or something.
Okay.
And Captain Kirk is there, and I think he had like a dog or something. He's playing with it, talking to it, and whatnot. And I mean, the dream was very brief, but in that dream, I decided, yeah, it's not so bad. And so I woke up that day, and the next time Star Trek was on TV, I was all for it. I started watching the show.
Oh wow.
Uh, what I learned many years later, um, after years and years of watching Star Trek, is that my mom isn't really that big of a Star Trek fan. She just wanted something wholesome for me to watch, and that's why
Oh,
she
okay.
would put it on the TV. Um, because she wanted me to have something that had some kind of message or moral, or other than just junk
Yeah.
on the TV. So I'm grateful for that. And I mean, I cannot tell you how different my life is from that just very very simple yet profound decision by my mom.
Oh wow. That's amazing. So was it TOS or TNG that you were had to watch?
It was the only thing that existed then. There was no TNG.
Okay.
It was only TOS. That would be in the 80s, the early 80s before. So when TNG came out, I was excited about that. I didn't hear or see, as a kid, any of the, oh, this is, not my Star Trek kind of thing. I'm like, hey, this is more Star Trek. Great, let's go.
Yeah.
Uh, and so yeah, I watched that from start to finish pretty much whenever I could. DS9 and the others began to come out, and I was like, man, this life is good.
Well, see, I was not lucky enough to have all that here because where I live, the town I live in, um, our main affiliates come out of Corpus Christi, Texas, and as far as I can remember, the first Trek that I could watch on TV was actually TNG. So I never got to watch TOS. So I actually started with TNG. Um,
Okay.
then it was later for me before I got to watch DS9, um, because we just didn't have, Corpus had, you know, ABC, NBC, CBS affiliates, um, and they eventually got a Fox affiliate, but it was only over the air, and it wasn't on our cable company wasn't carrying them. So when stuff would come out on there, I didn't get to watch everything as well, and sure not UPN. Um, I did not get. I actually, I don't even. I'm trying to remember when it had to be late '90s, maybe early 2000s, late '90s, early 2000s. I had satellite, Direct TV, Dish Network, and because we did not have an affiliate, I was able to do the paperwork or submit the requests to be able to get the New York and LA feeds of UPN
Okay.
and at the time the WB, which then became the CW. Um, so that's when I got to start watching Enterprise. I actually got to watch Enterprise when it came out. It wasn't until streaming when I got to watch DS9.
Wow. Wow. I feel privileged now. So now when you say you got direct TV, was that the
Satellite.
big,
No,
deal in
no, no,
the
no.
backyard?
The little
No?
satellite. The little
You got
ones.
the little
I
man.
start with the little
Okay.
ones. Yeah. Now my
Okay.
relatives, he had the big dish back in the day where it moved and all that stuff. Which
Yeah, I remember those.
I
We
remember
never
those
had
too.
one, but my uncle had one, and so I
So did my
was just
uncle.
fascinated by that thing. I was
Oh,
like,
it was so
"Oh,
cool.
can you talk
I'm
to
not.
the aliens on that?"
I'm
That's
not gonna lie. I know. I loved. I'd stay up sometimes late at night, and I'd just be moving to the different satellites, looking at different,
just to
just to
make
see what's
it.
out there. Honestly, to see
Oh,
what's
what's
out
up?
there.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, so TNG was my first show. Obviously, I watched all the TOS movies, um, and it's only within the last several months that I've started watching TOS. I'm watching it with a
Wow.
group recent. Well, correction, I'm watching it with two groups now. Um,
2 groups, okay.
the Seventh Rule. So
Yes.
I came in midstream on that, but I'm with
Right.
this on the on the Search for Trek Patreon group. We're actually doing a run to series, and we're start TOS from the unaired pilot, and we just finished another episode a couple nights or just before Christmas. Um, so we're still in season one.
I'm excited for you.
It's actually making me watch it, and by getting to watch it with a group, it's making it better to watch because there's actually a couple of the members that are on the Search for Trek watch party that watched it originally when it came out,
Yeah,
when it originally aired, and that they have been TOS fans since the beginning. So getting to hear their perspectives on TOS back then and in how it still s- stands well now. Yes, there are those episodes that have not aged well at all. But
name
that
one.
oh gosh, like Mud's was it I Mud or Mud's Women is a little
That's
crazy there.
I mean, oh, yeah, it's 100% misogynistic, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
yeah,
even the
yeah,
Kirk stuff,
okay.
even and when I say they haven't aged well, it's that stuff of stuff.
Yeah, there are some elements, and, again, as one of those that watched it when it was the only Trek there is, it's, like, near and dear to me, so it's almost like I it's funny, it's like that friend that does things that are
Correct.
not socially acceptable, but you still
hmm
like them.
and that's the way I look at it. I like it. I still like the episodes. you know, and for the time when they were aired, that was okay. Or I mean, that was accepted. Maybe not okay, but accepted. Um, and I would say this: more good has come from TOS than has not.
Yeah, look at all we have for that. And I'd also say, I think what's valuable about, keeping those things are that we can have the discussions about, how times have changed. And I mean, there are things still in society now that still could change,
Yep.
to reflect a better future for ourselves. So I think it's important to keep those things, so that we can have those talks, have those discussions, recognize, hey, okay, that's actually not okay, and and be okay with that. To have that talk. I think that's important. I know a lot of people, hold on to how things were in the past and still think that those things are okay. And it's important to talk about it in a civilized way.
And it is, and that's one thing I think helps with Trek fans is that, for the most part, we can all talk about just about anything and really hash it out in a constructive way. Um, and I have learned that through with like the seventh world group with our group of friends that we discuss talk. I mean,
Yeah,
we can have discussions, and we have had discussions for hours after the fact of an episode we just reviewed or whatever. And it has made me grow as a person by to meet all of y'all and to look at Star Trek episodes and stuff and movies in a much in a different way and to pick up stuff. And and I can give a perfect example recently, um that we watched was oh, I'm forgetting the name of the episode. I should not, but it was the episode when Dr. Crusher learns about the Trill. Well, they're the first time we meet the Trill,
okay, the host.
the host. And I want to say it was as I was preparing for our review, it wasn't until literally like the third time I watched it and I realized what Dr. Crusher was saying at the very like literally right at the
Yeah,
end about,
yes.
in a different setting, time, whatever, I was like, "Oh, wait a second. That's the best they could say at that time about having a
Yeah,
same-sex relationship." And when I watched that episode all of those many years ago as a kid, pew, right over my head,
same.
no clue what they were talking about. And even to this day, it took me multiple times to watch it and then realize, "Oh my god, that's what they were talking about, or she was talking about, and that was all they could do."
Yeah, that's as much as the censors would allow.
Yeah. And so it's those types of things that these episodes and series help, I feel like, people grow and realize what the heck they're talking about. And we need to look at this and how are we still having these discussions today, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, those are some of the those are the eye opener episodes, for me personally. Um, and then I would say, so we know it sounds like now TOS is your go-to show. Was your go-to show originally?
yes, yes. I've been with the with Trek over the years. Now, it was a while later before I even discovered the animated series, or even knew that exists. That one, I think it didn't replay as much. Yeah. So, but I have watched. I think, every Star Trek that has aired and a little bit more.
Oh wow,
um,
I haven't done the original animated series.
right.
Now, am I doing? Have I watched Prodigy and Lower Decks? Absolutely, and they are phenomenal. I never thought. So I gave a good friend of mine. He was like, not with Star Trek. He said I needed to watch the Star Wars animated ones, um, and I'm like, really, animation cartoons, and no, they were actually what I have watched. I think it was the Clone Wars was actually very good. And what I liked about what they did is they were able to fill in gaps that they couldn't do in the movies, and they would tie
Right.
stuff to the movies. And that's what I'm liking about Prodigy and Lower Decks. They're able to do stuff they can't do in live action.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. Those of the lower decks is just phenomenal, phenomenal show.
Oh, it
Um,
has been.
both of them, Prodigy, phenomenal show. I've loved the stories that they told. I love Prodigy especially because even um, as a Nickelodeon produced show that is marketed to children, I think it tells a story that anybody can watch, and I'm grateful for
Agreed.
that.
Agreed.
Yeah,
100%.
it adds very much so. And again, as someone who's watched every Star Trek that's aired, it adds to the story, in a valuable way, I believe.
No, agreed. And it's not for kids. It is for kids, but it's not.
Right.
Yeah, it's a it's a good series. Um, Now I'm gonna have to say, as for my preferred series, I think I've probably shared this before. It is really Enterprise. I don't know. I think what I liked about it so much was we get to see them. We get to see humans make their first trek out into deep space.
I see what you did there.
That was not intentional, but I
Yeah.
saw it in my head and it kept on coming out. But make their first foray into deep space and literally watch us stumble, sometimes bad.
I do wish, yeah, I wish Enterprise had a longer run. It's a very, very good show. Um, and whenever someone asks me to, list the favorites or rank the shows, I'll go as far as the top three and maybe an honorable mention. So that's going to be number one is always going to be DS9, and number two is Enterprise, and really everything after that is just
Honorable mentions.
not necessarily honorable mention. Like I don't have a least favorite, right? They I love them all. And so I actually tried to make the whole list one time, and so as I filled out the rest of the list after one and two, well, I think that at the time there were like 11, and whatever number 11 wasn't like,
It's not that it's bad.
yeah, it wasn't like I didn't like number, it's that's just something had to be there, right?
Correct. Well, yeah. I mean, I would say Enterprise for me, and then I'm actually going to say DS9 because, like I said, I watched it. It took me, and I probably not just me. When I first started watching it, I was like, okay, this is, eh. But as it progressed, and I actually watched the series, oh my god, that was such a great series. Um, the character building, and yeah, just the whole thing was great. Um, but then after that, I don't know, Picard.
Let's see, you were talking about, yeah, having to watch DS9 years later. So, and part of my DS9 story is, well, I think, yeah, that was, came out around, my teens as, I was growing up. Same thing with Enterprise. Like after that, it was kind of like my early adulthood. But with DS9, I think up to maybe season 5 or 6, and after that, like, my memory gets fuzzy. I didn't like the 6th and 7th seasons, I didn't really get to watch them, as they were coming out. Um it was years and years and years later when I was able to actually sit down and watch the end of the series. And the funny thing was about that, I mean, it's phenomenal episodes like Far Beyond the Stars,
Oh yeah.
that I discovered later. And like I was floored by that one. And actually, when I got to watch the complete DS9 series, is before Paramount Plus and what was the CBS version of that
CBS All
called?
Access.
All Access. Before those things existed, StarTrek.com hosted all of the episodes on the website for a while with commercials. That was fine. That's where I finished
Really?
watching
I didn't know
DS9.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, I did
it
not
was
know they did that.
probably mid 2000s. Uh, maybe a little bit after 2010 or before. Yeah, right around that time.
I had no clue. That's actually good to know. I think I want to say by the time I watched it, it was on Netflix.
So that's how I finished the Enterprise series, which I also didn't get to see, to the end. Was Netflix, but not the Netflix that everybody knows. No, they mailed me the,
Oh my god.
the DVDs one at a time. Actually, I think I had
Ah.
my subscription. I could get like three, so I would get like a movie, and part of the Enterprise, season or
Oh
whatever.
wow. You did it the old school way.
Yeah, I would get two because I would send one back and start the next one, and by the time I finished, the other one would have come, in the mail. That's how I finished Enterprise.
Oh yeah, no, I was streaming when I did it. No, no, no. I mean, I did the disc back in the day, but yeah, it was streaming. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and actually another good episode, and they're all good, but uh, In the Pale
Nope,
Moonlight.
no, they're not.
Well,
They're
okay.
not.
They're not all good, but I'm looking at
Yeah,
so like In the Pale Moonlight, that was
yeah,
another
that's a heavy hitter.
that's a heavy hitter. And then um another episode that actually made me go watch TOS of DS9, and it was because I wanted to see how they changed stuff with Trials and Tribulations
Yeah, that's a good one. I remember when that one came out. Yeah,
and how they integrated stuff. I wanted to see, okay, what did they change? What did they not change? And the scene that really got me to make me watch it was when um, Bashir and O'Brien are in that lineup, and Kirk is giving them a
yes.
talking to, and I was like, okay, I gotta see how they did this and what they did, and that was phenomenal. Now,
Amazing.
I from a technical perspective, oh my god, Now I do wonder how the actors that got cut out felt about that. They got overwritten, but hey, they're still on TOS. They got the original,
Yeah.
it's the alternate version. But yeah, so those are some of the good DS9 episodes that Um, I think it might have been the two. It might have been us talking one night when I made a comment about the first episode, Emissary, and I got educated, and I understood because I originally thought, how dare Cisco not show?
Oh,
I think
no,
it
yeah.
was you that
Yeah.
educated me that and I was like, how dare Cisco not show Captain Picard the respect that he deserves? He's the captain of the Enterprise. But somebody made a explain, and I was like, no, you're right. It's not that he was he was mad, and he had a valid point to still be upset because of what happened, and so I got it. I understood. Okay, I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. Why he's upset with Captain Picard. And
Yeah, it was an unresolved issue for him.
correct.
And I'll throw this teaser out here.
Uh-oh.
So if you guys have not read it, the autobiography of Captain Benjamin Sisko, I encourage you to get that book by Derek Attico. It addresses that. It addresses that scene between Captain Sisko and Captain Picard. And that's all I'll say about it. Go get the book.
Okay, hold on here. I'm gonna have to go Google that right now, just so I have it for myself. What was it called? The biography of
Of Benjamin Sisko.
okay. Because now you got me kind of interested. Cisco. Okay. All right. Benjamin Cisco. There it is. Hmm. That's gonna have to go on the list. That's cool. Again, here we are, a series or a franchise, and we have people writing autobiographies of characters.
Yeah, I think there's one for Captain Janeway too, but I haven't read that one. But definitely, yeah, the Captain Cisco. I got that one. Like I pre-ordered it,
I get it.
and I was not disappointed at all. As a matter of fact, it exceeded my expectations.
How many conventions and cons have you been to, Mr. TJ?
Okay, so it's not going to be as many as you think. Let's see. So I started with the very first Star Trek cruise that's put on by Entertainment Cruise Productions (ECP), based in St. Louis. But and it's a funny story how that one kind of happened too. And I think that was somewhere maybe around 2013, 14, somewhere. I didn't know anything about it. I'd never been to a convention. Been many, many, many moons since I had any kind of group of fans. So there's another story to go back to. But anywho, with the cruise, um, I was visiting my mom's house, so um, I'm at my mom's house, and I'm in my old room, and I think I was getting ready to lay down or something, and I pulled up Facebook just for a minute, and one of my high school friends had reposted or shared an article that says William Shatner is gonna, be at the helm of the very first Star Trek cruise. And I was like, oh, it was a news article. So I looked at it, read it, and I was like, oh, when is this? Like, is this in the past? Like, this is something that happened before? Or, and it was like, no, coming up and and go here, if you're interested. So I went to the website, and I'll be doggone, they're selling tickets to this cruise.
Oh,
And I had only ever been on one cruise before, but I loved it. I never repeated the experience because I didn't have any travel partners that to go on a
yeah.
cruise. And I was like, I could go on a Star Trek cruise or a cruise with a bunch of Star Trek fans and be at
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
So normally, that's something I kind of, would think about and ruminate for a little while and to make a decision. But literally in that click I mean, this is me going to bed, right? Pull up Facebook, see this post from my classmate, uh, click the link, bought the ticket on the spot right away.
Oh, wow.
with no thinking process whatsoever. Like, I got to do this, like it was meant to be, right? So I've been on each successive cruise, but in that time, is again, that's when I began to connect with other Star Trek fans. Um, so in that time, I had the good fortune to meet Homer Frizzell and
Okay.
be reintroduced to the Seventh Rule. So when they were launching the Seventh Rule, I was aware of that campaign as well as What You Leave Behind. I was aware of those campaigns, but wasn't really able to participate at that time. But when I ran into Homer, I started listening to the show, and it was that, long story short, it was that group that convinced me to go to Star Trek Las Vegas.
What is it about that group?
They're a bunch of corruptors.
They are.
In
They
the best way.
are. And that you are correct. Sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, you're right.
I just had to add that on, yeah, in the best way. That's what got me going to the convention. So I've been to what, maybe four Las Vegases. Was I think eight cruises with another one coming up in a month or two.
Yeah,
I've
isn't
been
it in
to,
February?
yeah, late
Either January
February.
1st. Okay, yeah, late February.
Let's
Wow.
see. And then there's Star Trek San Francisco that they did last year, which is repeating.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm not going to that. But
I
I
like that one. I like that one because actually the atmosphere reminded me of the very first cruise, which was it's a little bit smaller. Like, I mean, Las Vegas big.
oh yeah.
The cruise nowadays big, but the very first cruise was a little bit smaller. It was on a little bit smaller ship than the one they use now. It didn't have, as many of the actors, and the environment was just a little less formal. A little less of the big show, and I enjoy that. I like the big show too. It's not one is better than the other, just different.
Yeah, see, that's how I was. So I've only been to 2 actual conventions so far. I went to SpaceCon back in October. That was up in San Antonio. That was my very first convention.
I wish I could have gone to that.
But it was fun, and it was overwhelming at the same time as a first time convention goer for
The
me.
first one is, yeah.
And it was also not just Star Trek either. It was Star Trek, Star Wars, Stargate, I mean, all of those.
Yeah, that's what made me a little jealous. Like, what Stargate people there? I've
Yeah,
never
there
met any of
was.
them.
Um, and then in November, I went to Trek to Dallas by creation. And that was a lot more intimate. And what I like about it over SpaceCon, like SpaceCon, don't get me wrong, but because it's at a hotel, everybody's most everyone's staying there. And so your interaction with other Star Trek fans is phenomenal. I mean, I talk to people I, had never met except through like this. It was awesome to get to meet some of our members in person. Um, and because it's at a hotel, a lot of the fandom, I mean, I'm sorry, a lot of the actors are staying there as well. Um, which was cool because you can sit there and I can say this as being from my first convention, they, at least the ones that I talked to and met, are just down to earth people. And I'm gonna have to say, and we'll tell them this later on, but Sirach Lofton, oh man, just the
He's
nicest.
A1 from day one. That's right.
Oh man, he is the nicest. And I'm not, not want to, say the other people aren't, but Sirach is just gold. He is so sweet, kind, and just the nicest person out there. Um, I'm gonna say Doug Jones may give him a run for his money, but because you got those Dougie hugs, but you know, he's oh yeah, I love Ciroc. His When he came and talked to us in our meet and greet, because I went ahead and did the VIP for my first time go around, and he sat there and talked to us for like 45 minutes, and uh, that will be a just conversation that I will never forget. You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, so those are mine. Um, I'm not gonna make STLV this year or in 25. Can't do it. Not gonna be able to get away from work,
Be there in 26.
but I will be there in 26. Actually, the lady I was talking to just a little while ago, we're both gonna make it. We made a we're going to go in 26. And she asked me, why is 26 such a big one? I said, it's the 60th anniversary. And she's like,
Oh,
okay,
yes.
yes, the 60th anniversary. So yes, I will be there. I'm going to be there. I'm making that commitment
Looking forward to it.
to be
Yeah.
that and to meet more people um, of our group. And uh, the only thing I wish we had, and this is my, not counting medical technology, if we had Star Trek, any Star Trek technology I would love to have right now would be a transporter, followed by a replicator.
So transporter ahead of the replicator? You'd
Mainly
rather be able
because
to
I'd
get
want to be able to get from here to Las Vegas or LA or wherever. Just walk on, beam in, and you beam your stuff back at a separate time as well.
Well, what if they make those tunnels where it's like 15 minutes or whatever?
Okay, I'm okay with that.
You take that? You take that? Take
Absolutely,
that and a replicator?
I'd do that too. I just want to not be. Not that I don't mind road trips. I don't. I like driving. I like road trips, but
You know we got airplanes, Chris.
I understand that as well. But airplanes are also kind of pricey, and it's not really it's not the price. It's the convenience of time that now again when STLV rolls around in 26, I probably won't matter because if I'm going, that means I retired by then. So I'll have gobs of time on my hands.
You're gonna road trip it to Vegas. Wow.
Well, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I actually have thought about that, but I'm more than likely gonna just hop on an airplane. But if we had a
Okay.
transporter,
But if you had a transporter, you could do that.
do that in a minutes, in a
Yeah.
heartbeat,
Yeah.
and I could do it while working because I could beam out
You
there.
just transport back home.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what if you ran out of transporter credits?
Hey, it's they don't have
I mean,
money.
you just talk about how expensive flying is. How expensive do you think a transporter is gonna be?
I don't know. That's actually a good question because I have no clue. I've always wondered that, and I've never researched it to know if they can just transport unlimited for no credits or cost. I don't know. That's a very good
Hmm.
question. So, but that would be my those would be my technologies. I don't know what would yours be if you could have some Trek technology that obviously medical.
Technology. Uh, let's see. I mean, I think I'd be keen on the warp drive.
Yeah,
I'd just go out there for a little bit.
warp is
Uh,
definitely way up there.
I mean, again, I like going on the cruise. Can you imagine if the Star Trek cruise was okay? We're gonna fly to Alpha Centauri and back,
Okay,
in a ship.
that would be cool. I'm not gonna lie, that'd be kind of cool. That'd be very cool. So warp transporters, I'll take those two.
The way things are going now, yeah, I'm wondering if now I don't have to land on the thing, but I would like to go up, fly around the moon, and come back.
Heck
And
yeah,
I'm wondering if that'll happen in my lifetime. With I mean, they're really pushing this technology these days. So
I suspect that that is a yes. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I suspect it'll be later in my life potentially.
yeah, definitely. Like it'll be that. Maybe it'll be the thing that kills me. Like, oh, this is so great. Don't take me back. I'll just expire here. And they'll be like, no, we don't want people to know this is a death flight.
Love him or hate him, it's the company I like. It's a SpaceX is definitely going to be helping us get to that part. Um, along with other space companies and rocket companies. Um,
Yeah.
it's just it takes time, as they always say. I space is hard.
I wrote an article recently for Vibes magazine, which is a school of metaphysics production, and in it I was talking about like my childhood fascination with space and traveling in space and all of that. Um, and I remember, as a kid, seeing the space shuttle launches on TV and and things of that sort. But I didn't. Again, I was a kid, so I didn't know. Like I'm watching that, and then there's this Star Trek, right? I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We're spacefaring society or whatever. Uh, yeah, but I didn't know they weren't going past low Earth orbit. Like I was like, oh, I thought they were gone. Like,
That's Elon's biggest thing is he wants us to become multiplanetary. We need to become
yeah.
multiplanetary, um, in the long run, and so
And again, that's probably going to be a longer journey than we're really conceiving of to become multiplanetary. I mean, but I think it's important, like you said, to take these first steps to be able to get to a planet like Mars or Titan, a moon like Titan or something like that, or I mean, just our moon. Uh, like we haven't been there in a while.
I know, and that's my thing, especially when it comes to current space flight, and, I'm
To see
a,
them point to the moon, like I know it's like it's
yeah,
right
I know,
there.
it's somewhere up there, but I actually I watched the Angry Astronaut, um,
Yeah, I've
and
watched him.
I'm one of his Patreon members, and you can submit a question every now and then, and so I submitted, um, a question about, and I'm not gonna give you the answer because 'cause it's been a while since I watched it, about, you know, why did we stop nuclear, the progress on nuclear propulsion? I mean, I know it's the 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 bad stuff, the bad part of it, the cons of it, but the pros of having the faster ways of space travel, you know. And so I asked him to make a video about that and do research on, and he did. And they just, they cut it out mostly for funding.
Yeah,
Not much, not environmental, not, they're worried about it blowing up in the atmosphere. It was mainly due to funding, and they wanted to move on to something else. And I was like, oh my god, once again, the almighty dollar.
if we went to an alternate timeline in Star Trek, and that would be the reason like Zephyr Cochrane never made the first warp flight. It's like, oh, yeah, he decided to do something else with this money or resources or whatever.
A great series to plug here, and I don't know if you've watched it, but I bet you have. For All Mankind,
Oh yes, yes,
the
yes.
alternate what if.
That's amazing, amazing show. Which I think I know they're producing a new season, so I'm
Yes, they
excited
are.
about
I'm
that.
so looking forward to that, and I hate to say it, watching that series, I love it, but at the same time, I'm sitting there like, "Oh my god, if we had
What
just
could have been? Yeah,
kept going." Ah, but anyway, I'm gonna leave it
love
at
that
that.
show. Got to give a shout out to Mike and Denise Okuda um, uh, as producers of that show. Or I'm not sure exactly what their title is, but they're heavily involved, and I think that that's reflected in the product that we see.
Oh, yeah. Um, yeah, I I had not had, um, Apple TV. I got it for some reason, 3-month free, I got free, never canceled my subscription, and I'm thankful I did because great series. I am so looking forward to the next season to come out. But yeah, again, it's one of those things. It's the most thinkers, the what ifs. What if we had not stopped? And it's also, got some other. It's got a lot of Star Trek behind it. Ronald D. Moore is one of the creators.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to see if I can find what the Okudas, if they are what their official title are, but it's definitely the special effect or the effects and all the um,
graphic artists,
graphic
artistry.
artists and all that
Yeah,
stuff. Um, because that's how we got the L cars and other
yeah.
stuff.
That's why they call them Okudograms.
That is correct, my friend. But oh well. Anyway, I hate to end this. I could go for another hour, but I don't want to take up too much more of your time on a
Well,
Saturday
we can always
afternoon.
do it again, Chris.
Huh?
We
Sorry.
can always do it again.
Oh, we will definitely do this again. Um, we will definitely do this again, TJ. And so I appreciate you doing this. And I will see you on our next either roundtable or free for all.
Like I said, I'm gonna throw one more thing out there. For those that don't know, I'm a newly minted aspiring voice actor. So anybody that's listening that needs a voice actor, get in touch with me. I don't have my website set up yet. It'll be set up shortly. And so, at some point I'll drop you some contact information there to maybe we can add it to the description or whatever the words below this wonderful video. Thank you for having me.